a mythological creature, dragons are certainly popular. They're in games. Obviously, they're a part of the Dungeons and Dragons role-playing game, half the name there. And you know, a dragon's always been that big, bad thing, right? When you're in a fantasy universe, the biggest, baddest thing you can fight is probably a dragon. Maybe a giant, maybe a demon, but probably a dragon. An ancient red dragon, just the stuff of myths, the stuff of legends. Well, they're not quite so legendary in games. They show up all the time, all over the place, in artwork everywhere you can go. But that's fine, because it lets me make a top 10 list of my favorite games with dragons in them. So this was actually, some of these lists I have to go down to 5. This one was pretty simple. We're going to start off with number 10, Carcassonne. You might say. Carcassonne? That's right. There was an expansion called Carcassonne, the Princess and the Dragon. But you know what? This is actually one of my favorite expansions for Carcassonne. This isn't on the list because I'm just sticking it in. I like Carcassonne. No, in this game, the dragon is moving around, eating up the meeples. I like that. When you get different tiles out, the dragon moves around, and so players have to be very careful. Now, I don't want Carcassonne to ever become a game where you can just get messed over by other people, but when the dragon exists, you have to think very carefully. Sometimes it's better to finish something before that dragon gets you. It makes you walk a little bit closer to the line, so to say. I think that's fun. Number 9 is Emerald. Now, Emerald is an old kind of abstract strategy game in a sense where you have different pieces that you are moving towards a dragon. You don't want the dragon to get you, though, so you have to be very cautious. You can move them. The number of spaces equals how many pieces are there, and you want to go forward as far as you can to get gems and money, but that dragon's moving towards you, and so, the dragon theme is kind of maybe a little bit laid on the top, even though the box cover looks like a wonderful, cool dragon, but it's still a very good game, Emerald. Number 8 is Draco. Now, Draco is a 2-player game in which one person is playing a dragon, the other person is playing 3 dwarfish warriors attacking that dragon. So it's asymmetrical, and the dragon's trying to take out the dwarfs. He takes out one dwarf, now he's only fighting 2, etc. But the dwarves are attacking the dragon. If they cut the dragon's throat a little bit, it can't breathe fire. If they take its wings, now it can't fly around the board, it's grounded. And so it's a very simple fighting game, but it's pretty neat, right? It shows how one dragon and 3 dwarfs, who will win? So that's Draco. Number 7 is Dragon Racer. Now, this just came out last year, and it's the artwork is amazing, but it almost has a similar feel, how to train a dragon, that type of thing. And because in this game, you are racing a dragon around the board, and you are trying to play the right cards at the right time so that you can race your dragon around. That's fun. It's a cool little racing game with just absolutely stunning artwork, and I really like it. Number 6 is Runebound 2nd Edition. Now, Runebound's, the 3rd edition is probably better than 2nd edition, but the 2nd edition was really about dragons, at least if you bought the base game. They introduced other things, but there were big, nasty dragons that are flying all around the board, or dragon lords, or whatever they were, that were on them, but there were dragons, and they were the big final bosses that you had to fight. So Runebound, you are slowly going around, getting equipment, getting allies to go and help you fight, and you're fighting things, but eventually you want to take out these dragons. So, hey, Runebound 2nd Edition. Number 5 is Blue Moon City. Now, in Blue Moon City, you're building this city using different races of cards, but these dragons flying around the city. There's big plastic chunky dragon pieces, and you're moving around the city because when they get to the spot where you're building, you will get extra dragon scales and other things which you can use to get more points. They're not really against you. I'm not even sure why they're in the game. The game is a little abstract, right? But there are some cool dragon pieces, and moving them to the right spots at the right time certainly will help you win this game. Number 4 is Aladdin's Dragons. Now, the dragons are almost in the background of this game because in Aladdin's Dragons, you are a bunch of thieves sneaking in, stealing treasures from the dragon's caves, and then using those treasures to go and bribe your way past the guard and get artifacts from the Sultan's palace. Well, now, the dragons in this game are cool. They're big pictures on the board, but, I really like this game. I really wish it would be reprinted. It's a simple, fun game of blind bidding to some degree as you're going to the different, how many thieves am I going to send to each of the caves or the dragons to get the gold? How many thieves am I going to send to different spots? Very great game, Aladdin's Dragons. Number 3 is Defenders of the Realm, but specifically the first expansion for Defenders of the Realm. In Defenders of the Realm, there are 4 big, nasty bosses coming. One's an orc, one's a dragon, there's 4 different ones, but if you play the first expansion, all 4 become dragons. big dragons, a blue dragon, black dragon, green dragon, a red dragon, all of them marching in to take you down. And you need to stop each of these dragons. Now, I probably like the game a smidgen more with the 4 different bosses because, hey, orcs, dragon, etc. But the 4 dragons one was a fun variant to play. It's very difficult. And as you go around fighting their little minions and stopping them and eventually going and fighting the big, massive dragons themselves. Number 2 is Dragon Rampage. Now, this is a game that's actually being reprinted this year under Dice Tower Essentials. I like it so much. In this game, you are a group of people fighting a dragon. Now, the game will end when someone gets killed by the dragon, if someone kills the dragon, or if someone successfully escapes from the cave. So someone might say, forget the dragon, I'm out of here, and start running out of the cave. Someone else might die because they foolishly fought the dragon. Someone else might kill the dragon. Depending on which way the game ends, depends how scoring is. So if you're hoofing it for the exit and someone else kills the dragon, you've lost. While if you are fighting the dragon and someone else escapes out of the cave, you've lost. If someone else dies at a dragon and you were not, there's different scoring methods. It's a really neat dice rolling game. Really like this one, Dragon Rampage from Richard Launius. And my favorite dragon game, my number 1, is Dragon's Gold. In this game, you are killing dragons right and left. Dragon shows up, boom, you kill it. Dragon shows up, boom, you kill it. Then, you split the loot. You got to split the loot that these dragons have been done, and you have to do it with other players, and you have to do it straight up and say, okay, there's 4 gems here, there's 3 of us, I'll take 2, you each take 1. But everyone has to agree. If you cannot agree, no one gets anything. You have 1 minute to make these deals. It's a vicious, fun negotiation game where people will argue loudly back and forth what they want to do, and it really just comes together in a glorious negotiation in a small little box. Lots of fun. That is Dragon's Gold. So those are my favorite games with dragons. I could have mentioned Descent, or Dragonland, or Dracone, or Wrath of a Shardland, or Elfenland, or Quest for the Dragon Lords, and many, many, many other games. What are your favorite games with dragons in them? What did I miss? What shouldn't have been on my list? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, those are my top 10 dragon games. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and this has been The Dice Tower.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.